People always ask us, do I have enough money for retirement if I have X, Y, or Z amount? But at the end of the day, it's about how much income will be thrown off from your portfolio.
And welcome into the program. This is Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland's certified financial planning professional, Tim Stearns, CFP, founder at TJ Stearns, Inc., a local resource to proactive planners, savers, and investors located in Arlington Heights, headquartered, serving savers and investors throughout and across the Chicagoland area and beyond. And today, talking about a forecast for retirement. If you are planning on retirement this year or anytime in the near future, what are the important factors that you need to be considering and planning specifically for? Along with us for the ride, someone who has helped many, many, many people through that transition successfully, Tim Stearns, CFP. Always a pleasure, Tim. How have you been?
I've been well. I've been well. Staying warm here as best I can in Chicagoland in the winter.
And anything exciting going on in the Stearns household?
Not much. We're just hopeful, praying for warmer weather.
Yeah, indeed. So, Tim,
To be a bit.
I know that that's another place where forecasts come in, right?
Right.
We've got the forecast for rain, sleet, hail, snow, sunshine, warm weather sometime into the future. We'll get there eventually, and that's sort of the way that retirement feels for many, right? Is that it's sometime in the future. We'll get there eventually, but turning the corner in summer in the Chicagoland area, we don't just ignore the fact that winter is going to come sooner or later and not prepare for it, right? We've got to equip ourselves and properly prepare for
Yeah.
what is coming in the future. And a lot of people simply aren't considering all of the elements, so to speak, of retirement.
And I would agree with that. I think people are using old processes like 100 minus my age is what I should have in stocks and bonds. Not having guaranteed sources of income besides, let's say, their social security. And basically not having a plan. Having an idea and hoping for the best are not ways that we think that people should be retiring. So, basically what we do with people is try to address it. We've talked about this before on other shows that, many of these companies are money managers and they're not really helping people plan. If I see a plan, it's that their money's going to grow at X every year for the rest of their retirement. That's not a thing. I always say in our classes, I'm younger than many of you. I've never had my market go up 8% each year. Have you guys had that? And everyone looks at each other like, no, of course not. So why would you do I'll call it a projection that is saying that? So when we do, we scale back and we figure out how we're going to do guaranteed income for the bills and that type of thing, and then have a growth bucket that, if it doesn't perform, it's not the end of the world because we've got guaranteed money to pay for our bills.
Yeah. And Tim, I mean, I'm younger than maybe those retiring this year or in the near
Sure.
future, but I worry about the forecast for the next 25, 30 years. Like we are at a demographic bell curve where we have reached the top of the generation of baby boomers retiring. The peak year is this year of the baby boom generation retiring. And reaching full retirement age. For the past 35, 40 years, that large generation has been working, has been producing, has been buying, has been consuming, has been investing in the market. And for the next 25 to 30 years or more, they will be depleting those assets. They will be downsizing. They will not be buying as much. They will not be producers or consumers, and they will be making withdrawals from those accounts. Demographically, does that scare you with the forecast of can the next 25 to 30 years in the market possibly be as good as the last 25 to 30 years have been?
think that's a tough call, and one of the ways to get around that is by having a plan that's guaranteed, because you have the wherewithal today with interest rates being the highest I've seen in my career. Giving guarantees that I don't think we'll see, for gosh, 10 to 15 more years at least, maybe 20. So why not lock in some of these things? I'm talking about people even my age doing that. I'm 53 years old and I like a guarantee. I don't have a pension. I have Social Security, which it has its own problems. So I need something that I can count on, and I'm not going to count on the federal government to bail me out.
So, Tim, there are timely opportunities that come around
Sure.
that don't last forever in the financial world. And where we are now with markets around all-time highs, with interest rates and payout rates so attractive, this is
Yep.
a time to seriously look at retirement planning if retirement is in our forecast.
Yes, at all times, I would tell people it's a good time for it. And if you have some sort of a plan to, you know, make sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's. Because what I've seen when people come in here, if they have a spreadsheet or something, there are things missing off of there. They haven't done a Social Security optimization report. They don't know what kind of taxes they'll be looking at in retirement. They don't know about the widow's tax penalty. Like when someone dies, how you go into this single tax bracket, which is not very nice to single people in America when they're pulling down money from their retirement. So these are all different things that we're making sure we're uncovering in our due diligence to make sure that their income allocation plan, or we call it the Protect and Grow blueprint, is worry free for these people over the next 25 to 30 years.
And that Protect and Grow blueprint, ladies and gentlemen, that is your plan. Your all weather plan, regardless of the change in forecast, has addressed those elements, those variables that can impact and affect your financial future. All of the various risks that we see in the financial world. How can we, as in a comprehensive manner as possible, be prepared for them? By having a plan that addresses those things. And that is exactly what Tim Stearns, CFP, your certified financial planning professional, and his team there at TJ Stearns Inc. put together for listeners to this program. They've helped so many, so many across the Chicagoland area have a plan for a more confident financial future, but so many more need to have that plan and have the tools and have the forecasts and projections reviewed. So if you would like to get that Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint, pick up the phone and give Tim Stearns, CFP, and TJ Stearns Inc. a call. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256 is the number to call, or you can go online, tjstearns.com, tjstearns.com, and that's Stearns like Earns, EARNS, tjstearns.com. Tim, speaking of forecast, there was an old model that was widely accepted and traditionally used for forecasting retirement projections and cash flows. It was called the 4% rule. And over the
Right.
last 30 years, we have really found that it's anything but a rule, but it always had this accepted rate of failure, this probability of 10% of the time, this rule is not going to work, which meant people who relied on it 10% of the time, the likelihood of running out of money. Tying this back into a weather forecast here, if the weatherman says there's a 10% chance of rain or snow today, I may feel comfortable leaving my house without my umbrella or slightly unequipped, right? It's not going to destroy my life if it ends up not being in my favor. The probability of 10% of the time a plan, air quotes here, folks, a plan for retirement or a rule for retirement income failing and leaving us without money, I'm not sure if anybody should be comfortable relying on that, Tim. And so many did.
Well, and we're looking at where, the Wall Street Journal did a report where they said it should be about 2.8% rule. And then the Morningstar did one and said that it should be around 2%. So a lot of varying numbers here, but at all times, the amount of money that you can pull from your portfolio without running out of money, it's decreasing. In fact, Dr. Wayne Fowle that we've had on our show says it's 1.49. So if I'm at $1 million in my portfolio and I thought I could live on 40,000 and now I'm down to 14,900, that's some concern there,
Yeah.
especially if I live around Chicagoland. There's no way I can, stay around here.
But Tim, this is why you're talking about the fact that right now is kind of that critical moment in time, opportunity knocking to plan for retirement, even if it's today or if it was even yesterday or a year or two ago, if we're already in retirement, or if it's a couple years into the future. Because right now the market's at an all-time high and the interest and the payout rates available. Not only can we project out a higher cash flow rate. It can be contractually guaranteed that we get a
Right.
higher cash flow rate than what has shown to be problematic with the 4% rule.
Right. And I'm seeing that, most of these other plans that I've seen people come in with, they involve lump sums and returns and I believe, I think, I hope rather than I know. Income allocation or the protect and grow blueprint, it boils down to understanding your retirement outlook based on math, not hypothetical projections. And I think that's where the difference is here, is that to your point, we are guaranteeing the income.
And by doing that, Tim, at a higher cash flow payout, I know people kind of worry about locking up their money, that they want access and flexibility, and I understand that. But because we've got these higher cash flows and payouts, that's kind of two-sided, right? Yes, we might have some limited accessibility, but we've also locked in these higher interest rates and higher payout rates for a longer period of time when they may not be available into the future. Certainly,
Right.
that's kind of the forecast.
And many of those plans that we're talking about with these higher interest rates have increasing incomes, which keeps up with inflation. So that's another, nice added benefit from that.
And Tim, another factor in considering this is that what you've said and sort of laid out here in this prep for the show that we've discussed is that this actually creates more flexibility and
Yep.
discretionary money. Whereas before, it took 100% of all of your money in the market to give you a probability of success. If we can get these higher cash flow rates, now we've got more liquid assets left available outside. It's actually creating more flexibility and accessibility to assets for your clients.
Right. To your point, you're going to be able to do more with less money that is guaranteed, and it frees up that other money to be in the market, to take the trip that you've always wanted to do, but your bills are being paid, and that's the most important part. People always ask us, do I have enough money for retirement if I have X, Y, or Z amount? But at the end of the day, it's about how much income will be thrown off from your portfolio.
Did,
Whether it's in an annuity, cash, stocks, it doesn't matter. It's about guaranteed income that makes you sleep better at night.
So going from what used to be considered the rule, the 4% cash flow, Tim, if we can get a 5 or a 6% cash flow, that's not 1 or 2% more money. That's like 25 or 50% more money. And that is what is available for retirement planning these days, is that higher cash flow. So where at a 4% cash flow, and I know math over the radio is a little complicated, but if you have $1 million, 4% of that would be $40,000 a year of income. If we can get that up to a 6% cash flow, Tim, you only need about $660,000
Right.
compared to the million. We just freed up like
$3,000.
$340,000.
Right. I mean, the math is staggering right now. And that's why we're telling people take advantage of these rates. Again, in my 31 years, I've never seen a higher payout rate, and we're able to take less money to throw off what $1 million would have done. We only need $660,000. It's really amazing, and it's guaranteed.
Tim, I guess let's back up here for a moment because in planning for retirement, yeah, we're going to need to sort of map out when, where, how we will retire. Studies have shown that not everybody retires of their own accord on their own plan. Sometimes there's unexpected retirements, and that's why we need to be in kind of a perpetual state of preparedness. But I think what we need to realize and acknowledge and recognize is that the day after retirement, we're still going to need an income. And I think that's where the real crux of this conversation needs to start, right? Is that the day after retirement, it's not that we don't need that income, it's that we don't have an income, and we've got to
Right.
generate it from somewhere.
Well, and to that point, you're going to go from being a saver your whole life to what? A spender, which is a real big switch to flip for most people in America. So how are you going to figure that out? If I quit today, where does my paycheck come on the 15th of next month? So we are always telling people, we're going to build you an income plan that will show you where that money is going to come from. And when do you turn on Social Security? Well, we'll address that. When does my spouse turn it? We will address that as well. How much should I pay? How much will I be paying in taxes? All these things are a part of the Protect and Grow Blueprint plan.
So, Tim, do investors with stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and money managers without an income plan, without an income allocation, without that protect and grow written blueprint, do investors know how much their portfolio will be able to produce for them on a consistent, reliable basis?
No. The simple answer is no, they do not have a guarantee. And that would keep me up at night, especially when you have the markets doing its roller coaster that it's done the last 24 years. One of the things we like to ask people, what do you think the market has done from January 1st, 2000 through now? And they will tell us numbers like 8, 10, 12%. It's actually a little over 5% with the S&P dividends being reinvested. So we want to almost wish it upon us that the market's going to do better than it has. And the years of 1980 through 1999 for your parents and your grandparents were great years. But for us, the long and short of it is the market's been very volatile for 24 years. So I would tell people we can't rely on that. We should be having other guarantees that we can lock in right now.
I think there's probably a series of questions that you could ask of yourself or of your money manager, Tim, that would really drill down on the fact of, do I have a concrete plan for retirement or not? But number one, like, how do we plan on creating income? If the answer is like going in for a haircut, well, we'll just take a little off the top, right? That's not a true
No.
plan for creating income.
Right. You need to drill down a lot more than that, and ask questions like, well, when am I going to do this, that, and the other thing? For example, pulling down Social Security. Most of the advisors that or people that have come from other advisors said that they wouldn't touch that question. We will do a Social Security optimization report for our clients and for prospects because that's something you need to know. You've worked at least 35 years for your best numbers in Social Security, and you're going to sit there and not address that answer. That's a little crazy to me. To me, that's not a financial planner. That's a money manager that won't touch that question. The other thing is every year, a lot of our clients are asking. We have a guy in our office that's certified for Medicare and Social Security. They're asking, should I jump to this plan or that plan? And what about my supplements and all that stuff? We do all that stuff. These are the things that go baked into our plans. It's a given. Not to mention that we have a CPA and an estate attorney.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't discussed how you will create the income, how you will be tax efficient with it, which accounts will you access first, second,
Right.
last? How can you be confident that it is lasting, dependable, durable? What happens in down market years if you are just taking the growth off the top? Like, if you have not specifically addressed those questions and dove real deep into this. That is what the planning process should be about for retirement. If you're forecasting retirement this year or any near year into the near future, you need a protect and grow written retirement blueprint with that income planning, income allocation. Pick up the phone and give Tim Stearns, CFP, a call. 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. And again, backing up, Tim, this whole premise revolves around the recognition of the need for income as being the primary need we'll have the day after we retire and lasting throughout our retirement. So, extending on that question, how do we define the need for income? What is the process of figuring out, okay, yes, we recognize we need an income. Now, how do we define that need and quantify it?
Well, we just had a couple in here the other day that we did a plan for, and it was very interesting. One of the spouses had done all the numbers, and the other spouse had no idea what it costs to run this, let's call them the Smiths household. And so what I did was I had them create a budget for us to know what we need to what how much income do we need to generate, and then we take what their guaranteed Social Security numbers were, what their payments would be, and then there's a gap there. And how are we going to backfill that to make sure that we meet that every single month? And we had to show them, well, if we put this annuity in here with the guaranteed payouts, your bills will be paid every month. And then we can put what's left over into a growth bucket. And all I assumed there was 4% return. I'm not trying to sit there and do these crazy numbers that some of these projections I've seen that people show us, and that's how we built their plan. And now he already said, I sleep better at night knowing that we actually have a plan. You wouldn't drive out to California without a plan, right? These people are retiring with hopes and dreams that they don't know whether they can accomplish.
Yep. Well, Tim, once you've laid out that plan, also considering the variables that can affect it, right? Taxation, inflation, the acceptable rate of cash flow or withdrawals, the anticipated rate of return, like you're talking about. But it goes beyond those factors. You mentioned Social Security. We talked recently on a program about healthcare, long-term care, discretionary spending, legacy that we want to leave behind, charitable inclinations and goals. All of those are included in a comprehensive plan. And I think it's those factors that differentiate a true planner like yourself, a certified financial planning professional, from just a money manager or a tool such as a 401k or IRA. Those are fantastic and valuable tools, but they do not constitute a plan.
I agree. And most of it is just money management, and they're buying and holding, and they're charging a wrap fee. There and there's no trading, there's no, deviation from anything in there, regardless of what the market's doing. We always say to people, what's in your wallet? The commercial. Well, what's in your portfolio? And what is it generating for you? And if the market goes down 20 something percent, like it did just 3 years ago, what will you be able to generate out of income that's guaranteed? You won't. You'll be living on less money. And like we've talked about before, it's not like your utilities call you and say, "Oh, I heard that your portfolio took a hit, so we'll just take some money off the top here." That doesn't happen.
Yep. Not only a critical opportunity not to be missed, Tim, for where the market is at, all the generous gains that it has provided for us over really the last decade and a half, 15
Yeah,
years, pretty
yeah,
steady increase in the market. Very, very few and far between the blips in the radar. There were a couple, but it's been on a phenomenal run here. Not only that, the height of the market, the good interest rates, but the low tax environment, Tim. And I
yeah.
know tax season is upon us, and everybody's getting those documents in the mail, if not already itching to file. Taxes are a pain. We all know that, but it does generally mean that you made money. However, we're at historically low tax rates. Is this again kind of a triple compounding opportunity here to do the most effective planning possible?
I mean, don't you want the best for your family, you know? And I mean, having a plan, you can, optimize all these different areas. Income tax rates are artificially low, the lowest they've been since the early 80s. You have the best payouts I've ever seen in these different annuities and that and such. And then you also have the ability of a market that's actually cooperating right now. So why not try to, take some off the profits and do something smart with them by putting them into a guaranteed policy.
Well, I think there are many very, very apt savers and investors, proactive planners out there listening to the sounds of our voices, Tim. Many of them have access to those tools. Many of them have potentially used the help and assistance of money managers in the past, but still on a daily basis, you talk to so many that don't have a true plan for their financial future, like the written retirement blueprint, the protect and grow plan that you put together. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, Tim Stearns, CFP, is here each and every week talking about the factors that go into a plan, what it is comprised of, the different issues that having a plan will help you address. So not planning ahead, not having that plan, that can be much more significant and painful than the process of getting it put together. Let's be cognizant of that and be proactive. Tim, you've helped many, many more need that help. You make a great offer and opportunity available here on the program to help anybody that wants to be helped get that protect and grow written retirement blueprint put together.
That alone, and we're also happy to look at what people have going on. If they think they have a plan, we can another set of eyes never hurt anyone. We're happy to do that. I would tell you though, most people, with over $1 million is who we can help. And that being said, the first 10 callers with over $1 million in assets will get the book Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, which is a book that I wrote that addresses everything we talked about today and more. And I think it helps people kind of understand the rhyme and reason behind solving that modern retirement riddle, which is I don't have a pension like my parents had. I don't know how far my money can stretch. How do I go about doing this the right way?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like that written protect and grow retirement blueprint, if you would like to get a copy of the book, Solving the Modern Retirement Riddle, pick up the phone now, give a call to Tim Stearns, CFP. Get the conversation started, get the resources, the knowledge, the information to help secure a better, more confident financial future and the plan in your hands to make that happen. It is the Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint. 800-640-2256 is the number to call. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. Tim, as always, a pleasure. We appreciate the time, the perspective, the guidance that you provide for Chicagoland area savers and investors.
Peter, thanks for having me.
Tune into Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns' full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals or growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.